Running an MSP is tough, really tough. There's so much to do and so many conflicting demands on you as the owner. And yet, if you want to last 20, maybe 30 years doing this, you can't operate at full capacity all the time. You can see why, right? My special guest today has a unique insight into how MSP owners set themselves up to not just survive, but thrive over 3 decades of business ownership.
I am Melanie Curtis, and I'm a keynote speaker on untapped potential.
And that sounds like a proper job, that does, and with real responsibility, having to actually stand on a stage in front of people. I've only done that once in the MSP world, and it terrified the heck out of me, although I am looking forward to doing it again. But good for you, Melanie. Thank you so much for joining us. Yeah, a proper job. That's what you've got. Me, I just talk nonsense on this podcast and stuff. But yes, thank you for joining us. You and I were connected by a very good friend of yours and someone that I've known for years, but never actually met yet in real life. His name is Justin Esgar. He's based out in New York, and he's just one of the most entrepreneurial MSPs that I've ever met. He's an amazing guy, and he was like, he's always connecting me to good people, and he's like, you have to get Melanie on the show. And having talked to you for just a few minutes, I can see why he did that. So today we're going to talk about, if you like, the hell of being a business owner. And actually someone like Justin, as you and I were just saying, Justin is not your average business owner. He's very entrepreneurial. He's got like 12 businesses. You know, he's got 50,000 ideas a day and acts on 10,000 of them. And that's not the average business owner. The average MSP owner is working in their business more than they're working on their business. There's a certain element of they're trapped within the business. There's a certain element of where is the growth going to come from? Why is it so difficult to get things done? So that's what I want to explore with you today. Let's first of all just establish who you are, why you're able to come onto the podcast and talk about stuff like this. So you've been working with business owners for, is it a couple of decades now?
Yeah. I mean, I joke, but also I'm very, very upfront in the sense that entrepreneurship is not for the faint of heart. I like to think about it as I really get to do it. I think of it as a big creative project, but I'm also a person who is into doing big things and being challenged in that whole, I don't know if you've heard the term type 2 fun, but it's basically a term that outdoor enthusiasts use that means things that are only fun after they're over. So it's that idea of doing hard things like a Spartan race or climbing a mountain or writing a book, and it stinks during it, but it is so fulfilling, so rewarding because you really stretch yourself and grow. And I think entrepreneurship is a lot like that. And so I think it's important to build skills around how do we make it less hard when we know it's going to be hard no matter what. Like, how do we self-validate? How do we, all those skills really matter if we care about being a sustainable business owner over time.
Yeah, I like that. I've never heard of the phrase type 2 fun before. You throw yourself out of planes, don't you? That's your type 2 fun.
It's an outdoor. So outdoor enthusiasts use it most because it's about, climbing mountains and stuff like that. But it doesn't have to be that. It's really just something that's really hard that you're happy about, proud of after. You know what I mean?
And what's type 1 fun?
Type 1 fun is stuff that is fun while it's happening, like laughing with friends, going to a water park, dancing, stuff like that. Apparently, there's a term type 3 fun that means it's never fun, not fun during, not fun after. I don't even know why that's on the list, but apparently that's a thing too.
Well, type 3 fun sounds like my first marriage, because that wasn't fun during it, and it certainly wasn't fun after I'd given her all of my money. But I don't talk about that. So okay, so let's talk about type 2 fun in the context of being a business owner, because if you're going to be a business owner for 10, 20 years, which for most of us is the goal, and I'm speaking to you in my 20th year as a business owner. You can't wait till it's over. You can't wait till you're 65 and you've sold the business and you've retired to have fun, because that's just a waste of our life. So the MSPs and the other kinds of business owners you work with, what are the things that stop it being fun while we're doing it?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's honestly, we need to validate our humanity throughout anything that we're doing that's challenging and anything that we care about. You know what I mean? Why do we get into entrepreneurship in the first place? I don't know about every MSP owner's motivations, obviously, but for me, entrepreneurship is this avenue to initially my goal of like freedom, being my own boss, right? Being in charge of my own destiny and control of my own time, that is highly, highly valuable to me. And so I consistently try to remember that that is what I'm doing it for. You know what I mean? I get to go to my mom's house and have birthday cake with her and do a client call in the basement and get to be there and have that quality time with her that I can never get back, right? So I'm still running my business. Obviously, I have a remote business. That's a different animal in itself. So not everyone has that. Some people have brick and mortar. But I would invite people when they're in the struggle of real and true entrepreneurship and really being like, where's the next client going to come? Or scarcity fear, like, oh, cash flow is an issue, or man, we just lost a client. Those things are very, very real. And so I want to validate that, right? I don't want to dismiss that. Oh, just like figure out how to feel happy and build skills of validating yourself, right? Because like it's a like I said, it's a very real thing. So that's an important thing to care about, to honor it. But it's also, it is important to grow our skills around making that stuff not as hard and helping ourselves shift our mind to things that are actually going to help us, right? So one thing I talk about a lot is staying detached from the outcome, which can feel really weird when you're like, well, I have attachment to the outcome. I want to make money and pay my mortgage and support my family and put food on the table and whatever, live this dream experience. All that's valid too. So it's important to stay detached and flexible while also really shifting and thinking about what we can control. So if you're talking about marketing, right, where's the next client going to come? The truth is we never know. We will never know where exactly the next client will come because we don't know who's going to say yes. There's a person over there. We can't control whether they're going to say yes or like us or think we're smart. We just can't. We can learn and go, what can I do? And what's in my control such that I think it is most likely that this potential customer, this potential client, this lead or whatever is going to feel motivated or connected to what I'm sharing and offering and feel motivated to take steps forward with me.
Yeah, and yet, as business owners, and every single business owner on the planet that has ever been will agree that owning a business is a very personal thing. It's a baby, isn't it? It's a child. And you know, as I said to you, I'm in my 20th year, and I've learned the lesson the hard way 50,000 times that I've got to slightly emotionally detach from the business, and yet I don't. You know, even now at the age of 50, with all this experience, with a great life around me, there are evenings I catch myself sitting there feeling anxiety about a business that's actually really successful in the grand scheme of things. But the anxiety is because it's not quite going as fast as I want in the direction I want, right? And I can imagine if it was 10 times the size, I'd still feel that because I felt that anxiety when it was 10 times smaller than it is now. So how do we? And I know I'm not the only business owner I've had many beers and many conversations with
right.
thousands, hundreds of other business owners when we all feel the same. So if that's a common thing. And it reflects the care and the love and the attention that we have, because very few of us start a business for money. Money is a very pleasant side effect and part of it, but you're absolutely right. We start it for freedom. We start it for control. So how do we actually do that detaching without disconnecting ourselves from the business emotionally?
Yeah, that's a great question. You know, one of the things that I talk about relative to, doing big things, untapped potential, stuff like that is we have to talk about what gets in our way. One of the things that gets in our way is that patterned thinking, that sort of autopilot, So when I talk about this, teach about it, when I think about like patterned thinking, neural pathways, trenched neural pathways, right? I describe it as like a big, heavy truck goes into a field during a really big rainstorm, and the wheels sink into the field and they create these really deep grooves in the land. Then 2 weeks go by and it's sunny and beautiful and it doesn't rain at all. And those grooves where the wheels were harden, and it's like really hard. And that is basically what a trenched neural pathway is like. It's really tough to sort of get the wheels back out of it. It's kind of tough to grind down the edges so that it's not as intense, right? So those, oh man, I continue to feel anxiety, or I continue to focus on this thing that always causes me stress. I would coach people to look at that as something that they can work on to, over time, like, you know what I mean? Like, what's the word? Just sand down those hard edges of that thinking. But this is the thing, is it happens over time. This is me calling people into a version, like a skill building thing of, I have to, with frequency, access these ideas that are alternative to this trench, right? If I'm constantly in scarcity fear, or I'm constantly thinking the client's going to not say yes to my pitch, or whatever thing comes up, we have to really work on, what is the alternative thought that actually supports me. And again, it's tough, because I'm not just saying positive affirmations, right? I'm talking about, we have to actually believe it. Otherwise, it's not going to really help us. You know what I mean? But one of the things is a habitual thought. You know how a person will text you and it'll be like, call me. And your brain will be like, somebody is dead. You know, like, I don't know about you. I'm trying to get my mom to stop texting me, call me. I'm starting to believe that no one is dead when she does that, but still, it's a version of sort of a thought that I want to undo, a response. And so when we go into stuff like type 2 fun challenges, chosen challenges, skill building, iterative things over time, we know baked into that, we are not going to have the outcome short term. We know that the experience of that is waiting a while for the outcome. And so that kind of buys us into the persistence of what it takes to actually make that deeper change, right? So a example of that at the end is like, you're faced with a challenge, and then your brain automatically thinks, I know I can do that. Like, that's something we can prove over time and experience, right? Like you said, I'm a skydiver, I'm a world record holder. And those things, I've run the New York Marathon, I've done lots of things. I'm an entrepreneur. It's for 20 years. That's hard. So over time, and I'm not saying it takes 20 years, but over time, you know what I'm saying, is that we can prove to ourselves these new thoughts. And then we have to kind of consciously care about connecting to them.
Yeah, no, I love that. I know you help MSPs and other business owners with exactly this, and we'll talk about what you actually do in a second. But for everybody who's watching this on YouTube or listening to the podcast, give us a single step, a practical thing. And this is always the hardest thing, isn't it? I mean, everything you've said so far, I agree with. And then I'm racking my brains thinking, what's the practical step to get started? Now, obviously, you do this for a living. So you tell us, where would you get started with it? How would you identify, I've got an issue here, and how would you start to tackle sanding down those grooves?
Yeah. So first, self-awareness. So we have to, if we recognize a discomfort, a fear, something that we're in resistance to, we can't have it be unconscious to us. We have to be like, that's a thing. And then we have to pause and like take time to step back from the thing in order to reflect on it, to get more of an understanding of a conscious awareness of the situation in order to determine steps that might actually make it better, right? Usually people just, this stinks, or I'm afraid of this, and I'm just going to keep doing, again, autopilot, the same thing that I always do. We have to take that time to step back. So that's one thing. The other thing, I mean, is very basic physiology. We can interrupt a trigger response with 3 simple breaths, one breath, right? Really taking that inhale and then that longer exhale, that automatically interrupts our fight or flight response, which gives us a little bit more space to insert our conscious choice. Now, not easy. Not suggesting that's easy. Have you read the book Man's Search for Meaning by Viktor Frankl?
No.
It's a really powerful book. It's basically his insights from being in the concentration camps in Nazi Germany. And one of the quotes that's in that book is really just well known and powerful, and it's about this. And it's that between stimulus and response, there is a space. In that space is our power to choose our response. In that choice lies our growth and freedom, basically. It's not exactly the quote, but the point is we have to open up that space and insert conscious choice, right? If we don't know what to do, we have to figure out what to do. If we can't access a bigger thought or a thought outside of our consciousness, we have to get new thoughts into our consciousness, right? I say this a lot, but I believe thinking bigger is a skill, right? It's not just something that's cool and some life coachy thing to suggest. It's like, I can't access, potential, and I can't access new ideas and breakthrough solutions for myself entrepreneurially or in my life in any way if I'm not opening my mind to things I don't know about. Google something random, listen to an Audible book about a business owner and hear his humanity and her humanity and their stories, and see yourself in those stories so that you start to believe you're capable, right? Though that is a big thing I recommend to clients all the time. Go see some art, do something creative. Like, there's a million things that I could suggest that starts to bring new ideas into our brains. Honestly, if you have to start somewhere, start this. This podcast is a good place to start, but more business podcasts, more entrepreneur podcasts, get those stories, which will most likely spark an idea for you.
That's amazing. Thank you. And that's a great book suggestion there, Man's Search for Meaning. I'm going to get that on Audible as soon as our interview is finished, and then take it out on a 5-mile run so I can have some type 2 fun.
Yeah.
And,
right.
and sweat a lot as well. Melanie, thank you so much. You've been an absolutely fantastic guest. Just briefly tell us, what do you do to help MSPs who own their own business? And what's the best way for us to get in touch with you?
Yeah, thank you so much. Yes, my website is melaniecurtis.com. You can email me directly if you like that most. It's mel@melaniecurtis.com. So yeah, I've been a coach, executive coach, business coach for about 20 years. I also facilitate mastermind groups for people that are interested in that. And I'm a speaker, so I can come in and be a professional development facilitator talking about untapped potential, like I mentioned before. But really, it's about, helping actual humans do the things and really feel connected to what we get to do, that freedom of being an entrepreneur and really enjoying that.
Paul Green's MSP Marketing Edge.